Episode 13, back to the Mets, a 3-6 homestand against the Twins, Rockies, and Nationals. Nico covers his face there in disbelief. I remember when this homestand, we're getting ready for it, and obviously you're on the road, and it was tough, but you're getting Soto back. I was thinking 6-3 might get me believing again. But no, Nico, they decided to flip it, and now I think I'm completely done.
But 6-3 wasn't even crazy. I mean, they were playing 3 teams that they're better than, right? Like, don't tell me the Minnesota Twins, Colorado Rockies, or the Washington Nationals are better than the Mets. I know they won the series against the Twins. The Rockies we talked about earlier this week, what a joke. But this Nationals series specifically, right? Because everyone was like 6-3, got to be at least that on this homestand. And then once they got swept by the Rockies, that went out the window, unless they swept Washington, which we knew they weren't going to. But even Thursday, you wake up and you're like, you know what? Just win the series and we can move forward. Because I'm so sick and tired of talking about what's happened in the past. We got to just go forward with it. They're 10-21. There's nothing we can do to change that. The only way to fix it is by winning games in the future. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to wake up today and be positive. They're going to win this series. They're going to go on the road feeling good. And who knows what happens from there. And then even in that game, they have the lead going into the 8th inning. MJ Melendez hits the home run. We're talking about him being the savior. Is he the next Jose Iglesias that's going to turn the season around? Brooks Raley looks good. Quality start from Freddie Peralta. I know he had the error early on, but technically it was 6 innings, only 1 earned run. You take that every single time Freddie steps on the mound. And then it just all comes crashing down once again. And you're left speechless like it seems like we are after every loss. It's unbelievable.
And that's one of those situations, and I think Anthony DiComo, somebody tweeted it. One of the Mets guys tweeted it saying, well, this really isn't on Mendoza because you bring in Luke Weaver, you're setting it up now. You have a 1-run lead, and you go to Weaver. You went to Raley, you're going to go to Weaver, and then you're going to hold your breath, but you're going to go to your $50 million closer in Devin Williams in the top of the 9th. And I do agree with that to a point. I do agree with, you know what? Mendoza is just going to the guys that he has, the guys that are slotted to be in these roles. Luke Weaver is your setup man and a guy that can close for you when needed. He gives up the lead. What is he supposed to do? You want to get on him for pinch hitting Austin Slater for MJ Melendez? Fine. We can have that discussion. I'm okay with that. But like, how is that? I don't view that loss as on Mendoza, and you still have the fans out here screaming, wanting his head.
It's not Carlos Mendoza's fault, and especially the Weaver thing, right? Because I can understand at least the argument of letting MJ Melendez hit because he's been so hot, even though there's a lefty pitcher on the mound. But I'm going to get back to that. In terms of Weaver, who else is he supposed to put out there? There's nobody else in the bullpen. He already used Brooks Raley. You're saving Williams for the 9th, which who knows if Williams would have even saved the game. I know he comes in the 9th anyway with the team down, and he did, keep it a close game. But don't tell me that, Luke Weaver was going to lock it down in the 8th, and then Devin Williams was going to save it in the 9th. We don't even know if that would have happened anyway. And again, who is he supposed to put out there? The Slater thing, I see both sides, right? MJ Melendez is a red-hot hitter with the lefty on the mound. You're thinking, let me get the righty in there. That's who Carlos Mendoza is. That's how he manages. That's how David Stearns wants him to manage. It's probably one of the reasons why he hasn't gotten fired yet, because Stearns is sitting up in the box saying, yeah, I probably would have pinch hit with Slater there too. So we're going to get on Mendoza. That's just the type of manager he is. That's baseball today. It's all analytically driven. Do I wish we had guys like Buck Showalter still around where they were, going with their gut? Yeah, absolutely. But that's not what baseball is anymore. No, most managers aren't like that. I hear Yankee fans all the time complaining about Aaron Boone. They've been in the playoffs every year, so clearly it works.
Isn't it crazy? And I've seen this the past couple of days now. The Yankees are red hot and they're playing very well, and they got a great team. Isn't it crazy that we sit here now and kind of appreciate more of like what the Yankees have done, at least for me? Like, everybody wants, and I saw Michael Kay talk about this. Everybody wants to rip Cashman and everybody wants to rip Boone. See how difficult it is to be in the postseason every year and have a chance to compete for a championship every single year. But that is difficult.
But that's my problem, is that it's not. It shouldn't be, at least when you have this payroll. Like, the Yankees are meeting the bare minimum of expectations. Their standards are different than what the Mets are. We could sit here and talk about how this is supposed to be World Series or bust every year in Queens. They're not even close to having that level of standard yet, because they can't even make the playoffs 3 years in a row. So when Cohen bought the team and was talking about how he was going to bring them a championship in 3 to 5 years, how about you worry about making the playoffs back-to-back years? The Yankees are legit championship or bust expectations. So them making the playoffs every year shouldn't be that difficult. Neither should it be for the Mets. You have the second highest payroll in the sport, and they can't get to the postseason.
There's, and it's true, and I'm not going to walk away from that. They have the second highest payroll in baseball, but it's not similar to the Dodgers. And I'll even lump the Yankees into that, because they have so many bad contracts on this team right now that, yes, statistically, you look at the numbers, it's the highest payroll in baseball, but second highest, but it's not even close because of these bad contracts, because you have Marcus Semien and Sean Manaea making 25. I mean, you can't even put a guy out there in Sean Manaea that makes $25 million a year. He is basically unpitchable at this point. David Peterson, supposed to be a big part of this rotation, unpitchable. And then you go over to Kodai Senga, who makes $15 million, and he's on the Phantom IL now, and he'll probably never make another start for this franchise.
I hope he doesn't. I am so done with him. I'm done with all of them. Peterson, I've been such a huge Peterson fan, right? This guy was a first-round pick. Late bloomer, but last year was an all-star. He was always respectable, even in 2022 and 23 when DeGrom and Scherzer and Verlander were getting hurt, and this guy kept getting opportunities. But I mean, enough's enough, man. Like, it was 9 years ago when you got drafted, and we're still waiting for you to develop. It's the same thing with the hitters too. Vientos, Beatty, Mauricio. I've been hearing about these guys since COVID. And we're still sitting here saying, oh, well, maybe they'll finally be able to figure it out. It's been 6 years, man. Either figure it out or don't. Let's move on.
That's the biggest problem right now, because you have guys in this lineup that were expected to build off of what they did the previous season. You had Vientos in 24, supposed to build on it into 2025. He never did. And I think he's playing a lot more than anybody expected right now, because of the injuries they've suffered early in this year. But like Beatty, man, what he was able to do at the end of the year, you expected him to be a major contributor to this lineup. He's given you nothing. Alvarez hasn't done anything in a month. Okay, I know he had a double yesterday. He hasn't done anything in a month. So you expect these guys to take these steps. You're right. I'm so sick of it. Ronnie Mauricio, like, He is not a Major League Baseball player. And Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos are borderline. They may not be either. Alvarez is. At least Alvarez is a Major League Baseball player. Is he the number one prospect in baseball? Is he this otherworldly talent? No, he's not. But he's a Major League player that could be your catcher and could hit in the bottom of your lineup.
It's aggravating, because I think that's honestly what's saving David Stearns, right? Because you could point to the Semiens, the Polancos, Bichette's gotten off to a rough start. Robert, half those guys are hurt now. Lindor is on the IL. Soto was on the IL. So that's part of what Stearns will say, when he's talking to Cohen. But I think a lot of it is going to be those guys, Vientos, Beatty, Mauricio, even Alvarez, like you mentioned, who struggled over the last couple of weeks. Those weren't David Stearns' guys. He kept them because they were young. Like, when they moved on from McNeil, Alonso, and Nimmo, those guys are all in their 30s. So it at least makes sense why you'd move on from them and not give them long-term deals. You're not going to get rid of these guys like Beatty, Vientos, and Alvarez because they're so young. So he's trying to hold on to them for as long as he can. But when push comes to shove, when his job is on the line, he's got to sell himself to Steve Cohen. He's going to look and say, listen, look at how bad your farm system was before I showed up, because clearly none of the guys that got drafted before I got here are any good. He's going to say, let me develop the farm system my way.
And I agree with you. That's what he's going to sell himself on. And ultimately, that's what he's going to keep his job for. That's the reason why he's going to keep his job, because there's still a lot of players, whether it's pitchers or position players, that we haven't seen yet, that we have not seen get to the major league level and make their own impact. Obviously, Carson Bench being the only guy right now making an impact, and he's been playing better. He has been. His at-bats have been a lot better. Steve Gelbs was talking about an adjustment he made yesterday. He truly has been better. But it's incredibly frustrating. I'll tell you this, and we know he tried to trade Vientos, and he obviously traded Acuna, guys that just you could tell aren't major league players. I'm sure he tried to trade Ronnie Mauricio. I'm sure he's tried to trade Brett Baty at some point. And we talked about it last episode that, well, those aren't his guys. And in some cases, he's right. They aren't his guys, and they stink. And let's just see what you can get for them as long as you're getting some sort of value back.
I guess you kind of can't, because when you have Steve Cohen and the amount of money that he has, it's so hard to sell the fan base on, hey, we're not going to be good the next couple of years, but just wait, because in 2028, we're going to be awesome. And, obviously beyond that. But I'd almost rather that. We talked about this last episode. I don't want to sound too repetitive, but that's my biggest issue with this season, is the fact that we went into the year not knowing. Like, this isn't like 2025. Like last year, we went into it like this team is World Series or bust. They just went to the NLCS last year, and now they got Juan Soto. We knew that it was World Series or bust, but this year was weird, right? Like, we weren't sure how we felt about the offseason, but we still had the hope going in that they could win 86, 87 games. I know you were very high on them, that they were going to win 90-plus games and win the division. That wasn't a crazy thought coming into the year. If you looked at the Vegas odds, they were like top 5 in World Series odds. So it wasn't crazy to think that they were going to be good. It's just I'm watching the teams that they're losing to, like the Rockies and the Nationals, and without the expectation, it just makes it more fun. Like the Nationals are winning games, and their fans are sitting there saying, we know we're not going to be good, but it's cool to see James Wood make a couple nice plays in the field as he's still developing. CJ Abrams hits a big home run. Like, these are young guys that have talent. Same thing with Colorado. Hunter Goodman, a good catcher. Ezekiel Tovar. Mickey Moniak's a weird situation because he was the bust for the Phillies, but now has come over and been a nice addition for Colorado. But like, I think of, like, even as a Mets fan, I remember having so much fun watching those teams in 2012, 2013, even 2014, as they were building towards being good in 2015 and 2016. I know it all came crashing down after that. That's been the story of the franchise, no sustained success. But it's fun seeing them knowing that they're building towards something. Right now, I'm watching this team, and they're not building towards anything because these guys like Semien, Polanco, and Robert are all going to be gone in 2 years. Right. Like, what's the plan? What am I looking forward to watching these games? Well, I do it because I'm a psycho, and I still believe that they're somehow going to turn it around, but it's not realistic.
But right now, like, yes, technically you're correct. There's nothing right now outside of Carson Bench and Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor and Francisco Alvarez, and obviously Nolan McLean, where you're sitting there saying, okay, like, yes, this is part of the future. These guys are going to be here when the winning starts. But you do have, I think, still a really good farm system that has exciting players that are going to come up at some point. So that's what Stearns is going to sell himself on. I don't know if I agree with keeping him.
I mean, so the plan in the future is what? Lindor at short, right? Let's say Soto in left. You want to say Benj in right, Alvarez catches, Ryan Clifford at first. But then my question is, what's the point of having Steve Cohen then? Like, let's pick one. Are we gonna spend a bunch of money and be like the Dodgers, or are we gonna do this the way the Brewers did? I'm fine with either, but pick one.
Well, I think it's gonna be a lot. It has to be a mix of both. It has to be, okay, we're filling out this lineup. This is what it looks like. Go through it. Bench. You paid Soto already. You paid Lindor. Like that. That's the thing. So now you have to supplement the rest of this roster with your young talent that's affordable and cheap, and then go fill the rest of your holes that you currently have with big-time free agents.
I look at the Yankees as the example, and they're big hitters like, Judge, Stanton, Bellinger. You want to say Jazz. He had a 30-30 season last year. I think he's overrated, but it's a story for another day. I truly believe that the reason why the Yankees haven't won a championship in the Judge era is because the prospects who haven't come up and been good, right? We go back to Greg Bird, Oswaldo Cabrera, Oswald Peraza, Clint Frazier, Anthony Volpe. Like, all of these guys were supposed to come in and be the final piece that they were missing, and they've missed on all of them. The pitching is there. They have Garrett Cole. They had Carlos Rodon. Now they got Max Fried, Cam Schlittler. Like, it's all there, but they still have issues because there's no prospects. Look at third base, Ryan McMahon. If they had a young third baseman to come in and take that spot, this would be a non-issue for them. Jose Caballero's playing shortstop. I know he's having a good year, but that was supposed to be Anthony Volpe. So I don't want to put all my chips into this basket where we have Soto and Lindor and whoever else they want to sign. And then we're banking on guys like Ryan Clifford and Carson Bench to come up, and even guys like A.J. Ewing. I know he just got promoted to AAA. He's been raking in the minors. So was Bench. So if we're going to put our eggs in this basket and then it doesn't work out, now we've wasted Soto and Lindor's prime.
It's tough to put your eggs in one basket, especially with prospects. The one thing I will say is you also and you don't necessarily agree with it, and that's fine. The Peralta trade, I'm okay with shipping off prospects like that in certain moments for the right player. I thought the trade was fine. You needed a starting pitcher, a guy that could pitch game 1 or game 2, whatever it is, somebody that's been there before. I was okay with giving up Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat for him. You need to be able to trade certain prospects for proven talent. So, like, we're talking about some of these guys, I don't think all of them are going to be making these major impacts. I think they're going to be making impacts on another team.
I think you just have to do it when the time is right, though. And I get it. Like we said before, there was hope coming into the year that this team could be good enough to go on a run. But I just didn't think it made sense to go and get Freddie Peralta now. Because if they don't re-sign him, I've said this before, the trade is a complete waste. If they lose 90 games this year and then Freddie Peralta walks out the door in free agency, you literally took Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat, crumbled them up into a ball, and threw them into the garbage for nothing. They might both completely suck and never be good MLB players. But it's just the asset management, in my eyes, scares me when I evaluate David Stearns. Because he traded away 2 of our top prospects for a guy that was only here for 1 year on a 90-loss team and then didn't keep him long term. Now, if he re-signs him and Freddie's here for the next 5 years and does great and helps us win a lot of games, especially in the playoffs down the stretch, fine. Then I love it. But right now, the way it looks, they're on pace to lose over 90 games, and there's no talk of him getting an extension. How is that a good trade?
I don't want him. I don't want him long term. I really don't. And this is coming from somebody that was okay with the trade.
Really?
I do not want any part of him long term, unless it was like a 5-year contract. 4 or 5 years, fine.
Well, how old is he now?
He's getting close to 30, but I don't think he's 30 yet.
He is 29, turns 30 in June, actually. So in the offseason, he'll be 30.
This is going to sound crazy, and maybe it doesn't make sense. Like, I would have made a run at Skubal. If this season was going better, I would have made my run at Skubal. I wouldn't have made a run at Peralta, personally.
But again, though, why can't you do both? Like, I know that sounds so greedy, but that's what we thought with Cohen. You signed Juan Soto to $765 million. Why can't you go get Skubal and then keep Peralta to be, even if he's only the number 3 starter, because you have McLean to be the 2?
But now you're talking about asset management. That's not a good way to spend your money.
To load up the rotation like that and have Skubal, McLean, and Peralta as your top 3 with Clay Holmes as the number 4. Let me go out there and be the 5th starter at that point, because who cares?
I don't think you can spend money like that. You have holes offensively. Pitching's not even the biggest issue right now. Outside of 2 days of the week, your offense is your biggest problem.
But according to David Stearns, It's because they haven't been able to stay in the lineup altogether at once. I know for a fact that after the year, that's exactly what the excuse is going to be. Oh, Soto got hurt, and then Lindor got hurt. Now Polanco and Robert are both hurt, so we had to do a lot of mixing and matching. That's why we were forced to call up Tommy Pham. Jared Young went on the IL, so we brought up MJ Melendez, and now Austin Slater's here. So it just didn't work out in our favor. That is what's going to be the answer. I know for a fact. And pitching is what wins. I know the offense has had a catastrophe type season so far. This is unheard of. I mean, even Mendoza was saying it in the postgame. I've never seen anything like this.
Which is crazy.
But let's not forget what happened last year, too. It was the pitching. So it goes both ways. You have to have both.
Last year, it was certainly the pitching. Like, no doubt, was the pitching. This year, I think it's clearly on the offense because you got 3 guys out of 5 nights giving you really good starts, giving you a chance to win. You know, I forget who said it. We might have said it. Somebody else might have said it. Like, you look at that run differential. That run differential is not as bad as it probably should be for a team that doesn't score many runs.
I'm speechless just talking about the offense because the law of averages keep telling you that it's supposed to turn around. And that's why I keep tuning into these games with hope. I'm expecting them to go out west this weekend. And, you know, the Angels aren't that great. The Rockies aren't that great. Why can't they go and beat these teams? And especially in Colorado, should be able to score 10 runs a game there. And then Arizona, who they've played well against through the years. Again, it's unbelievable that I'm going to sit here and say, but they should go 6-3 on the road trip. And they'll probably go 3-6 again.
Are you going to watch tonight?
I have softball tonight, so I'll probably have it on my phone, but softball.
Wow, you're going phone. You're going phone. Wow.
Yeah. What I should be doing is taking videos of myself at the plate and send it to David Stearns. You want a real hitter? Get me out there. Enough with these bums that are hitting every night.
I'm saying, like, I'm just crazy you're going to have it on the phone. Like, if I was, like, I'll probably, you know, just go grab a couple drinks at a tap room and it's just going to be on. You know, I'm going to be watching LeBron. That's why I want to go. But, like, it'll be on.
No,
but if I was home, I mean, yeah, the game's probably going on. At least if I was just sitting at home tonight.
It's an illness.
It's an illness. It's
not okay
because I'm out. I seriously think like I've accepted it already that they're bad. I've accepted the fact that this is a bad baseball team that is not going to turn it around. And if they turn it around, it won't be enough. But I'm going to watch some of this game tonight. And there's something wrong with me.
What hurt me yesterday or Thursday, I should say, is the bullpen blowing the game, because I really do believe in the law of averages with the offense. I've done so much hating on these guys, and especially David Stearns for saying that he built such a bad team. But I refuse to believe that the offense is going to be this bad all year. My worry is that when the offense does figure it out, then what? Because we saw that on Thursday, right? Melendez hits the home run. They even played a little small ball where, you know, Melendez bunts over Soto to second, and then Vientos hits the double, and they're up 4-3. The offense is looking okay, and then the bullpen blows it. So the offense could go on a tear for the next 5 months, but now is the pitching going to be able to hold up? That's my biggest concern.
And it probably won't be. Like, that's probably what's going to happen, right? Because you just don't have enough starters. And when does Jonah Tong get a call? I mean, it was Christian Scott pitching Friday night. Like,
if they're bad, like if they keep this up and by June they're still 10, 15 games under 500, I'm going to be really annoyed if Scott and Tong are not pitching every 5 days. Because if this season's going to be a waste, like I said before, at least let's see something for the future. Let Tong come up here, and if he sucks, then at least we know he sucks. Same thing with Scott. I know he got the one start and walked like 5 guys and only made it through an inning and a third or an inning and 2/3, whatever it was. Give him another chance. The guy hadn't pitched in the major leagues in a year and a half. You have him do one start and then go back down, and now he's getting called back up. I think he's going to start this weekend because now with Senga on the IL, he kind of has to take that spot.
I think he's pitching Friday. I think he's pitching tonight.
Good. Let him pitch every 5 days the rest of the year.
Oh, here we go. Here's some news.
A little breaking news.
I wouldn't say it's breaking news. Yeah, I guess it's breaking news.
Okay.
Anthony DeComo, exclusive. The Mets are backing Carlos Mendoza despite their 10-21 start. We don't view this as a manager problem, and we do not intend to make a change. That is from the Mets. That's from David Stearns. We know our record is not what we want, and we know we are capable of more, Stearns told MLB.com. We don't view this as a manager problem, and we don't intend to make a change.
Okay.
That's what he is saying. And he says, in the eyes of team decision makers, the blame should be spread throughout the organization, from baseball operations to clubhouse injuries and others that have wreaked havoc on the offense. He mentions, obviously, Lindor and Soto and Polanco.
Had to throw the injuries in there. Let it be
right.
known. Yep.
And that's why they're 29th in runs. They actually surpassed the Giants.
It's not because you built a bad team. It's because guys got hurt. Jorge Polanco was hitting, 170 before he got hurt?
Right. I think it's exactly what we said the last couple of days here. It's really because he'd be admitting a mistake.
You know what?
Admitting a mistake hiring Mendoza.
I think at least he was, came forward and said something, because I think the not knowing whether he was going to get fired or not is horrible for the clubhouse.
Yes. And I saw Joel Sherman actually tweet that out. I think it was Thursday night.
Right.
And I technically agree with that statement. I don't disagree with that.
Now, I don't agree with the decision to keep Mendoza, but at least he's coming forward and saying, no, we are not doing this, so stop talking about it. He is our manager. It's not his fault.
Well, how about the Phillies? They fire Rob Thompson. They're 3-0. They swept the Giants, who suck, but
we should have swept if we fired him Monday, they would have swept the Nationals.
Right. Like, you had the thing is, though, and we've talked about Kai Correa. I don't view him as this guy that I feel comfortable taking the reins over. You redo his coaching staff, which is fine. You took some power away from him and you redid his coaching staff. Why is there not a guy like a Don Mattingly on that bench right now that could potentially have taken over for Mendoza? Is it because Andy Green is in the front office or Carlos Beltran is currently in the front office? Why was there not a guy there that you would have felt comfortable handing the keys to?
I think it's because Stearns wants someone that's young and very analytically driven. And that's what Kai Correa is, the same way Mendoza is. That's another reason why for the longest time I was defending Mendoza and didn't necessarily think that firing him was the smart move, because if they're going to fire Mendoza and bring in Correa, it's the same thing. The only thing that changes is the message, in the clubhouse, is the culture. And for that reason, I became okay with moving on from Mendoza, because I was like, maybe they just need to change the vibe in there. There's clearly still some leftover stale feeling from last year.
You see what Kai Correa, not to make fun of a guy's looks. I'm a big guy. I'm not the most handsome guy in the world. See how small his head is?
I actually have no idea what he looks like. Now I got to look. He
kind of looks like an alien. I just couldn't imagine him taking over a clubhouse, being the voice in that locker room. I can't imagine it.
But that's the problem. When you have, whether it's a former player or someone who's been doing it for a long time, that's what they need. Like Aaron Boone, Yankee fans don't like him, and I get that, but he has respect from the players. He once put the cleats on and went out there and did it himself, and did it at a high level. This guy hit a walk-off home run in Game 7 of the ALCS one year. He knows what it takes to be a good Major League Baseball player. Don Mattingly, arguably, people still today believe he should be in the Hall of Fame. Won an MVP. Even the guys like Buck Showalter and Bruce Bochy, they've been doing it for so long and they've won everywhere that they've gone. So they have respect from the players. Who in that clubhouse respects Carlos Mendoza?
I think they probably like him. I don't necessarily think there's this respect for his baseball mind and what he's done.
You want to be buddy-buddy with him, then go have a beer with him after the game and talk about it. But he doesn't need to be your manager. When push comes to shove, we got to win baseball games here. And I don't think Kai Correa is that either. He's another guy that's nerdy, loves the numbers. I don't know him personally at all. That's fine. You could be very analytically driven, but there needs to be like some type of like fire and human element to this.
I think it's Beltran at some point. I think it's Beltran next year. I really do.
Sure, I hope so. I'm all in with you now. You pitched it to me a couple weeks ago. I've sat on it. I'm in. Let's do it.
You're in on Beltran.
I'm in.
I'm almost to the point where I don't even want it to be in season. Like, just finish this season and let it be a dumpster fire, and then bring him in, and then say, Carlos, you're our manager. Beltran.
Yeah, I guess that. Is that because you just don't want him to have to come in, and then if they don't turn it around, then he looks bad?
Yeah, that, and then potentially the issue of, well, he's not the manager going forward.
Right, where like they use him as the interim, and then they don't turn the season around, and then that forces them to not keep him.
Yeah, you're going back to the front office.
Right. Okay,
I want him to get a fresh. At this point, I just want him to get a fresh start. I think he's an Alex Cora type manager. I think he's going to be that good.
Oh, that'd be awesome. They should have had him in 2020.
I know.
How different would things be the last 6 years?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. Is he still the manager? That's what I want to know.
I mean, I guess it depends on if you think they would have done better than how they did with Luis Rojas in 2020 and 2021.
I'll throw 20 out. I don't care about 20.
I don't care about it either, because even if they did win the championship at the World Series, like, no one counts that as a real title. It was more just embarrassing that there was an 8-team playoff in the National League and they couldn't even get in. And then 2021, they're in first place for 4 months, and then they trade for Javi Baez at the deadline, and it magically falls apart and they collapse.
And they probably fall apart regardless of who the manager is, because DeGrom didn't pitch the rest of the year anyway.
Yeah, I guess, but that team they were good.
That wasn't a great team. I'll stick by that.
It's basically the same team as 2022.
No, you had Lindor on a down year. You had Jonathan VR and Kevin Pillar making, major impacts.
You're telling me that the biggest difference between 2021 and 2022 was Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, and Starling Marte?
Yeah, especially Marte. He's one of their most important hitters that year. And
I don't think he's a difference of 30 wins.
I think the veteran presence plus the level of play that you got from those guys over the ones you had, adding Lindor into it, who was bad in his first year and injured, to now being, he was an MVP level player in 22. Yeah, it's probably 30 wins.
If Luis Rojas is still the manager in 2022, they don't even come close to 100 wins.
No, I think they might make the playoffs still. I don't know what the number would have been. But
that's my point. If they have Beltran in 2021 instead of Luis Rojas, that team is almost just as good as 2022. They win 90-plus games and are a playoff team.
Did they go under 500?
I think they finished under 500, yeah.
So I think maybe they're competing for a wild card spot that year. Maybe with Beltran.
They ended the year 77 and 85. You don't think Beltran instead of Rojas adds 15 more wins?
No. Not that team.
Wow.
Not that.
You're down on that.
I didn't like that team. I did not like that team. I thought it was a fluke the entire year.
The bench mob was fun.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I never thought that they were a legitimate contender.
I mean, we'll never know. It's just I don't think that Mark Canha and Eduardo Escobar are are that key to the 2022 team.
I think you're underestimating those guys. That's what I think. I want to pull up Mark Canna's numbers right now. What did he do?
In June, guy raked. Other than that, though,
He had a 770 OPS, Mark Canna. He had
That's not
13
great.
homers. He had a really nice year.
yeah, but what did Conforto do in 2021?
Probably nothing.
No, I don't think he was that bad. 729 OPS, 14 homers. Like, I don't think Mark Canna compared to Conforto was that big of a difference.
What was Eduardo Escobar? Because remember he had the
September, he was
had the
great.
September where
Yeah.
he really raised his numbers there. His OPS was 7. Escobar, I will give you, he was a flop.
And I will say, Marte, you're not wrong about that, because when he got hurt in September, that's when the collapse really started.
Yep.
There are people that still think that if Marte never got hurt, that team doesn't even have to play in the wild card series and they win the division.
Yeah, Marte was one of their most important. You could argue that he was their second most important hitter that year. I think you could really argue that.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. But I think that the managerial change plus Starling Marte was the biggest key to that year. So my thought is, granted, let's say Marte adds 10 more wins. Okay, they don't win 100 games, but if they have Carlos Beltran instead of Luis Rojas, I think they could have won 90 games in 2021.
Now I want to look at the starting lineup.
We're really going back here.
I have to look at the 2021 starting lineup.
This is what they forced us to do. We don't care to talk about this year's team anymore. So we're talking about a team 5 years ago that also was terrible.
Wow, Alonso was really good this year. Oh, wait. Sorry. This is 2022. There.
I think Pete was good in 2021 too, though, right?
He was.
37 bombs.
Yep. Like Lindor at a 734 OPS. I mean, Jonathan VR finished the season with a higher OPS. In more games played, by the way.
Again, though, having Carlos Beltran as the manager, you don't think that would have helped Lindor get adjusted to New York quicker? Learning from a guy that played in New York and dealt with hate. He got booed, Carlos Beltran. They still to this day talk about that strikeout in 06. He would have been so valuable to Lindor in that first year when he was getting booed and having the struggles that he was having.
Nimmo was also bad this year.
How about Dom Smith?
Dom Smith was not good this year.
667 OPS. Fine, though. He'll rake now for the Braves.
And McNeil had 251.
What's crazy, too, is that Baez came over and hit 300 as a Met those last 2 months.
Yeah.
He was arguably their best player since the trade deadline. And they somehow got worse.
Remember that week or two of Brandon Drury?
Oh, yeah. Luis Guillorme.
Oh, what a weird year. I don't miss those times at all. I got to tell you.
No, I mean, of course, we're still living in those times.
No, I mean, like the COVID, like you're just out of COVID and, like it's the first real year of Cohen. Like I don't miss
2021 was great.
Oh, I don't miss it.
That's one of my favorite years. Not for the Mets, but just like in general. Yeah.
I don't miss it at all. Stroman was actually really good that year. I will say.
Taijuan Walker.
He was bad.
There's David Peterson with a 5.5 ERA in 2021.
We're just going
5 years later, still has a 5.5 ERA.
Going down memory lane. This is what we're doing here. Oh, and Carrasco killed him too.
That was horrible. Yeah.
Carrasco,
but he was hurt for a lot of that year too.
He missed half the year. He came back. We all remember when he came back against the Reds.
Mm-hmm.
The first night of the black jerseys in July. I was on vacation. I remember this. I was so excited. Let's go. We're getting Cookie back. We're getting Cookie. I mean, we're getting him. We hadn't had it. It's bad. It's all bad. All right. 6 and 3. You're like, all right, let's go.
It has to be, right? I mean, it's funny because when your baseball team is bad, I feel like that's just the worst because you have nothing else to turn your attention to in the sports world. Maybe if you're a Knicks fan, you're riding high right now after that blowout win over the Hawks in Game 6, thinking that they have a chance to go all the way. Love that for you, but I'm a casual NBA guy. I'm not going to pretend to now jump on the Knicks bandwagon. My Islanders are out. Football doesn't start for a while. You know, college basketball is not till November. What else do I have? This is it. What am I supposed to do? Just not care about sports for the entire summer? I can't do that. I'll go crazy.
Steve Cohen has given David Stearns at least some assurances that his own role is safe.
Some. Only some.
Only some.
That's interesting. Because I, as much as I didn't want to believe it, I agreed with you guys that his job is safe. But that actually excites me a little bit. Only some.
I don't think
Okay.
he does.
He's hearing the noise a little bit. Be careful, David. We might just get even louder now.
I don't think that. I don't think.
I'll go out. I will drive to Queens and be out there with picket signs. Fire David. Let's do it.
I don't think that means
start
anything.
that.
I don't think that means anything. Personally, I think that means his job's safe.
Why are you trying to hurt me? I got nothing else. Let me get excited about something.
I'm trying to be realistic. I'm trying to not get anybody's hopes up. He's going to be here.
I'll be popping champagne.
Listen to your leader, David.
And I hope he proves me wrong. I hope that there is a day where David Stearns gets to laugh in our face and say, ha ha, I told you so. And I'd be the first in line to shake his hand and say, you know what? You were right. I do not care if I'm right or wrong. I just want to see the team win.
Good luck with that. Good luck.
Maybe in 2027, right?
Maybe
no, you know what? No, they're going 6 and 3 on this road trip. That's it. I've convinced myself. Let's do it.
Good for you. What could have
not good for me? It's bad for me.
What could have they done differently? Like what moves this season that were available could have the Mets made to put them in this spot? Because personally, with the way the back end of the rotation has been and the way that these players, like we mentioned before, the young guys, the way that the young guys have played, like Beatty and Vientos and Benj and Alvarez and Mauricio, all of these guys, with the way they played, I don't think that there was this. I don't think they were going to win much, even if they made different moves that weren't Bichette or weren't Polanco or weren't Robert. I think there's a chance no matter what happened, the Mets were a bad team this year.
I think if they signed an actual first baseman, that helps. I mean, I know the first base market this year wasn't great, but if they go out and get Ryan O'Hearn from the Pirates, right? Just an average. Doesn't have to be this great home run hitter that replaces Alonso and hits 50 bombs. Kyle Tucker. I know they got outbid by the Dodgers. That was an option. If you go get him instead of Luis Robert, now you have Benj in center with Tucker in left and Soto in right. Or maybe if you wanted to put Soto in left anyway, you could do that. There was options. The bullpen. You have to make sure that you lock up Edwin Diaz. Stop going and getting former Yankees. I don't want Luke Weaver on this team. I know he's, said the right things post-game. A lot of people loved what he said on Thursday night after the game. He had a long quote. I forget exactly what it was, but just talking about the vibe of the clubhouse and how they keep losing and trying to have everyone stick together. Sure, that's great for the clubhouse, but I don't want you as my setup guy. You can come in the 6th, sure. They needed to do better with the bullpen, and they needed to actually sign guys that play the positions that they're meant to play.
And if they brought back Pete, what's different? If they brought back Nimmo, who I think actually got hurt, what's different? And McNeil, who stinks, what's different? Like, I love the fans that just say, oh, they just should have brought these guys back. Like, I still think they're a bad team.
If they brought those guys back, what was going to be the expectation? Just run it back? Like the Yankees are doing that right now, but they're running back a 94-win team.
Their
Like, their
running back at
goal is to
94
win 94 wins again. That's fine. They're okay with that. Our goal is not to win 83 games again. So why would you run back the same team that just went 83 and 79? What is the point of that?
and they were running it back with younger guys that they really expected to get better, like Ben Rice and Cam Schlittler, while also getting back a healthy Garrett Cole and a healthy Carlos Rodon at some point. Like, right, they weren't just running it back. There were, like, yes, technically it's the same roster, but there was more upside than if the Mets just said, hey, we're going to run it back. What upside do you have?
Like, you're telling me that Carson Benj was going to come in and he would have done better because there wasn't as much pressure on him? I don't think that would have been the case because he needed to play every day, no matter who was on this roster surrounding him. If you're going to call up a guy that's never played in the majors before, that's, got drafted 2 years ago, still very fresh in his development, he needs to be getting reps every single day. So regardless of who was here, he would still be here hitting 190 the way he is right now, playing every day. Doesn't change that. Jeff McNeil playing second base instead of Marcus Semien? Sure, that's an upgrade a little bit. But what's the difference? It doesn't change the fact that they're 10-21 right now. And I know we're sitting here saying how we would kill for them to be 15-16 or 16-15, right around 500. But if that's what they were all year, you're putting all this effort into build another team that's not even going to win 85 games. They needed to try something new. I don't agree with what they tried, but, getting rid of these guys was not the issue. They didn't need to bring everyone back. It wasn't going to work. They've been here Nimmo got drafted in 2011. Alonso and McNeil made their debuts in 2018 and 2019. It's 2026. Those guys were not winners.
Oh, it's so much fun. Isn't it fun being a Mets fan?
The best.
There's nothing better than this. I'm gonna say they go 4-5 on this road trip.
Don't do that.
Am I negative?
Don't do that.
How negative is that?
Come with me. One more try. Come with me.
You want me to say 6-3?
They can beat the Angels.
You want me to say 6-3?
I do want you to say 6-3. But I need you to believe it. I don't want you to just say it. Why can't they win a series in Colorado?
There's no reason why they can't. They just got swept by them. Like, they should have swept them at home. I can't. I'll go 5-4. 5-4.
All right. At
and
least
you don't
have
really
the winning
feel
record.
anything, but it's whatever. It's gonna get late way too soon.
Well, this is it for me. I say that I shouldn't have even said that because I know for a fact that they can go 3-6 and then they'll come home to play the Tigers and I'll be sitting right in front of the TV for that series opener as well. But and this is so stupid. It's really not what the goal is at all. But I just hate the idea that dealing with the Yankees and then they're going to come to Citi Field in mid-May. I think that's the 15th, 16th, and 17th of May. That place is going to be 75% Yankee fans. They're going to take over Citi Field.
You're going to go?
I wanted to, but now I don't know if I should because it's a lose-lose, right? I'm either going to the game when the Mets are horrible, and if they win, I don't even really get to enjoy it because all the Yankee fans are just going to say, yeah, this was your World Series because you have nothing else to look forward to. We actually have real goals over here. Or they get pummeled by the Yankees and I go home miserable anyway. I need them to show me that they're a little bit back. Go 6-3 on this road trip and then come home and take 2 out of 3 against the Tigers team. That's only 500. They don't look that good either. They go 8-4 in the next 12. And now they're only 6 games or 7 games under 500, but at least they're showing me that they have a little bit of life. I could feel something going into the Yankee series. I need to see that. I saw it against the Twins, and I thought
it's so possible. It sounds so realistic. It could happen.
That's what I'm saying. It's there. I feel like I'm Aaron Boone. Everything's right in front of us.
Right in front of us. It's right in front of us.
I mean, come on.
Well, we'll be back after this Angels series. Angels aren't bad, actually, either. That's the problem. Like, they're very
Stop.
pesky.
Enough with the pesky. I heard pesky about everyone. The Rockies are pesky. The Marlins are pesky.
Well,
the Nationals.
They weren't just pesky. They were better. That's the problem. They were better. Actually,
the Angels.
I thought the Angels were they're on a.
The Angels are 12-20.
All right,
and the Rockies are 14-18.
All right, the Angels. I didn't realize they were on a 6-game losing streak. So their losing streak ends tonight against Christian Scott. I'm kidding. Let's get a win. I think it's Jose Urena with his 6 ERA. Let's get a win tonight. Come on. I'll be watching. You've convinced me. I'm not just watching LeBron tonight in the tap room. I'm watching the Mets game too.
Maybe they'll get me going at my softball game too, right? I see them do a little something and get amped up, and then it makes me amped up, and now I win my softball game. We're 0-4. It's horrible. Negative 50 run differential in 4 games.
Our season starts on Monday, and we're bad. I mean, we're bad. And so I'll be feeling the same pain that you're feeling on Monday. And last year we played and we were terrible, but we would have, it was late in the year. No matter what, they were big games last year.
Right.
And we would have it on in the dugout. But they were good. They were fighting for something still.
Yeah. Listen, it's only a 5-team league, so all we got to do is just not be the worst team. And it's fun. I have a blast doing it.
I love it. No, I don't care how bad we are. I love it. But like I'm saying, I don't think if we were playing softball tonight, I don't think I'd have the game on in the dugout.
You're the smart one here. I have issue. I remember in 2023, they sold at the trade deadline. They traded away Scherzer, traded away Verlander, David Robertson, all those guys, right? I still thought that they were going to go on a run in August and September.
This would be a long year.
I remember sitting there. With my buddies saying, "Oh wow, I guarantee the guys in the clubhouse are going to get motivated that they traded away everyone and they think that we're good. So we're going to use that as motivation and go off." The Diamondbacks just did it last year. They sold Eugenio Suarez at the deadline, and that almost made the playoffs.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
So I remember thinking that in 2023, that's what the Mets were going to do. So you're in for a long ride with me, buddy. I'm going right till the finish line until there's the E next to the name.
There's always going to be a chance at a run. Okay, well, you're too loyal. That's what it is. You're too loyal.
I'm realistic though, because I understand that. Like I'm big on, like, I know Yankee fans that are like, my team should never sell at the deadline. We're the New York Yankees. I loved what the Mets did in 2023, getting those prospects. So if we get to July and they're still out of it, I'm going to say that we should sell. I don't disagree with that part of it. It's just I'm always going to think that they're magically going to go on this win streak and be good.
But we'll see. 9 games on the road, out west. We'll be back after the Angels series. I don't know what time that game is, so it'll either be Monday morning or the release day will probably be Monday morning. So I think it's a little later on that Sunday, excuse me. So we'll be back after the Angels. Hopefully we're talking about a sweep, and hopefully we are feeling good about ourselves. But we'll just have to wait and see. Check us out, obviously, on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. This episode available wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, or, of course, on YouTube. And we will talk to you guys next after the next series.